and welcome to another Dhamma talk from BSV Buddhist Society of Victoria. But the talks are given at the Newbury Buddhist Monastery due to the restriction. So I'd like to introduce myself. So my name is Cunda, and I've been coming to support BSV and Newbury Buddhist Monastery for the last roughly 5 years. So this is my 6th time here, coming over to support Newbury Buddhist Monastery and also the VSC Buddhist Society of Victoria. So to introduce myself, if anyone haven't know who I am, so I was born in Malaysia and left Malaysia and migrated to Australia when I was roughly 12. So I was basically just practicing meditation, learn about Dhamma practice up in the mines. I got very interested in meditation and Dhamma practice. So later on in life, I basically ordained as a monastic with Ajahn Brahm. So Ajahn Brahm is my preceptor. So I take Ajahn Brahm as my teacher. So so I've been enrolled for roughly just over 10 years, because I've been a novice for 2 years before becoming a bhikkhu. So this year will be my 9th year as a bhikkhu, but 11 years as enrolled as a monastic. And any announcement? So we do have an announcement from VSP from our president, and he says just for all our supporters to be patient and to keep safe and just wait patiently into the restrictions lift maybe sometime next week. So once things are lifted, and depending on the situation, then the monastery will slowly open up. But at the moment, to keep everyone safe, the restrictions are in place until further notice from the government. Okay. Let's see what else. Okay. So we will just. So what I do is I'll give a short chanting. I'm not a big fan of chanting. I need to practice on my chanting more if I can chant longer. So I'll give a short chanting. Then we will start the Dhamma talk, and at the end of the Dhamma talk, we'll open up for some questions from the audience online. Okay, so I'll just give a short chanting, then we start the Dhamma talk. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahato sama sambuddhassa. Okay, so today's topic, I will probably talk about a few things. So this year is quite a special year for us. The Bhikkhu's MBM monks project is just been completed last month. So we are very glad and happy to able to have a proper separation from the monks area and the nuns area. So the monks and the nuns have our own area. So we it's always good to have a staying close in the same property, but have a good separation, because due to our practice, our precept, and also that's how we work as a monastic, because the bhikkhus and the bhikkhunis, we practice is like the same in Dhamma practice meditation, but how we live is quite different. So to have that separation or partition is very important in Dhamma practice, because during the Buddhist time, the bhikkhus and the bhikkhunis will stay close enough to support one another. So this year is very special because we managed to fully separate the community. So the monks and the nuns have our own independent place to stay and practice. But we still support one another in Dhamma practice and in work in the monastery. So this year I'm very happy to be back, and the monks have their own place to stay and practice. I remember coming back here the first time in 2015, and that was a lot of work at Newbury Monastery. There wasn't a big community of monastic. I think there was only 2 monastic, plus myself is 3, and 1 trainee. So at that time, I think 2015, when I first came over here, there was a lot of work and so much duty. So I came over mainly just to visit Newbury Buddhist Monastery and to help my friend Bhante Jack that was here leading the community and doing a lot of the project. So he was just over doing too much work, so I decided to come and support him and just give him a hand with this project. So that was about 5 years ago. So time is moving very fast. But coming back this time, my sixth time here, seeing how the buildings are completed, and staying when we got the approval to stay in the kutis, I pack up my stuff and moved straight down to the new kuti and spent the first night over there a week ago, and it was so peaceful. I felt that it was more quiet, and you look out the window and you see the forest. And you see the animals, you see the birds, you see the kangaroos, and you see the wombats, and you tend to have a sense of peace and calm, and basically being by yourself in close to the forest. So that was a very special night for me, staying in our own individual kutis. So then I realized, wow, we have really started to start building kutis for the monastic, but in order to develop our practice, the monks and also the nuns, they need to have that separation from one another, so they have a lot time by themselves, just to be away from one another and to settle the mind and to calm the senses. So today's talk, I will be talking about basically mindfulness and also developing samadhi. Because with mindfulness and samadhi, this goes hand in hand, because without mindfulness there won't be samadhi, and if there's no samadhi or calm, then the strong mindfulness will not arise in a practitioner's practice. Yep. So at the moment, it's quite interesting because I look at the news, look at the report, and I see the world is pretty chaotic at the moment. So last year we have the bushfire in Australia, and a lot of people was worrying, quite concerned. Even we was quite worried and quite concerned here. But the bushfire did not affect Newbury Buddhist Monastery that much. It was quite far away, and in the east coast of Victoria, but there was a bit of concern here. So after the bushfire, then the coronavirus came about, and that was even a bigger problem around the whole world. And now we have the latest thing, we have the protests around the world. So it's quite interesting, and that remind myself why for a monastic, why we ordain, why we slowly move away from the world, and why lay practitioners will come to a monastery to practice. It's just to basically get away from just the problem and the stress and the worry of the world. Because when you look back over 2,000 years, there's always been conflict and drama. This is the way the world is. This is the nature of the world, and for all of us, sometimes we cannot escape that. We are drawn into it, and sometimes monasteries are built and they are established. So for monastic to come in, to stay, to practice, and to devote their whole life to monastic practice, to slowly move away from the world. Because the world, from the Buddha say, the world is basically a nature, is impermanent, things are always changing. Then it's dukkha, is holding on to things brings suffering to every person's heart, because we hold on to things, and when we lose it, we feel hurt. And when we want things and we want to achieve and get it, and we work very hard, we get it, we think we're happy, then things fall apart, then we lose it. So in the world, there's nothing sometimes worth holding on to too much. And also anicca, anicca is impermanent, dukkha is suffering, and anatta is non-self. So all this attachment is driven and driven to that idea of self, because the attachment of the self is very strong. It attached to the five senses that goes out in the world. So if we think there is, if we have a strong self or ego, or I, then the attachment will become stronger within our mind. So in Buddhism, we have this concept of non-self. So if we look into our meditation, deep into our meditation, we calm the mind, we calm the senses, and we go into deep Samadhi or meditation, we realize the mind is just a process of attachment and clinging, because our mind it goes out into the world through our five senses. So our five senses of sight, and we see something nice and lovely, our mind tends to go towards those objects. So our attachment comes from our mind faculty. And when we see something we don't like, then discontent or anger will rise in our heart. So that's how the mind faculties work. Same with the hearing. So when we hear nice music, sound, voices, our mind is inclined towards that. And when we hear something like argument, say maybe a chainsaw in the monastery, or people are checking a party next door, then we feel this should not happen. So anger or evil will arise in our hearing. Then we got smell. We smell a perfume, or we smell something food like during lunchtime. Then our smell faculties will say, "Oh, that's nice." When they start thinking about what's happening, what they're cooking in the kitchen. So our mind would get drawn into that, and we walk outside, and we step into warm bath pool, then we go, "What's that bad smell?" Jeez, that is terrible. Then we get repelled by the kangaroo pool, or the wombat pool, or even the dog pool outside. Then we got the sense of touch. So when we go into our nice kutis in the rooms are very nice. We got floor heatings. All the kutis have floor heatings, and the sangha have floor heatings too, and it's quite nice. When I first came here, we didn't have proper heating, and the rooms was basically quite damp and moldy, and it was very cold and freezing. And at that time coming here, the monastery was not getting a lot of support. We did have a bit of a debt problem, so we try and just cut down on heating, and not to be a bit more frugal. So our sense of touch also sing. So we feel something nice, a warm room, then we like to stay there longer. And if we go outside and it's very, very cold, and one time I was working outdoor, and we left a bottle of water, and within 1 hour it turned to ice. I was going, wow, that's pretty cold. So when it's really cold, we will come to, our mind will incline not to hang around outside. So the light and dislike through our senses, our sense of touch is quite strong in all human beings. So we always look for comfort and move away from pain. So the sense of touch, then the sense we have. So we have the smell, the sight, the hearing, and the touch. And the last thing is the mind. The mind is basically the forerunner of everything. So that's why it's so important to always practice mindfulness, to calm the mind, and to always see and come back into our heart, our feeling, and into our mind, and beware of our conditioning, the conditioning of our heart, the ups, the down, the feeling, because if we're not aware deep inside our heart and mind, and you don't aware of the conditioning of our heart, what is happening, then we can be lost in greed, attachment, or anger, and that will drive the idea of self, of I'm better, I'm the best, I'm the worst, I'm hopeless, or I'm same as everyone. In Buddhism, we look deep into our mind, and we realize through non-self, in calming the five senses, calming our thoughts, calming our feeling, making the mind still and very peaceful, until that sense of I or self slowly fade away in the background, until the mind is still. When the mind is still, then we realize all this idea of the self disappear. Then we understand the sense of peace, happiness, and freedom. What the Buddha realized through his enlightenment in deep meditation, and his wisdom arises from a calm, still mind. So that's one reason why this whole monastery is set up, is in order to restrain our senses, restrain our unwholesome action by speech, by action, and by thoughts. So action is you see the world, people are just they're out of control. They cannot control the mind. So the mind takes them out to the world to get what they want, to feed the five senses. And sometimes they think that by getting what they want, it makes them happy. But sometimes it creates a lot of suffering, a lot of attachment to oneself and the other people. But in spiritual practice, it's the opposite. We develop wholesome qualities, compassion, forgiveness, loving kindness, and we create all those good qualities in our heart. So it leads to happiness to ourselves and other people. So basically, it's just making good karma, making merit, and avoiding making negative karma, and avoiding developing wholesome, unwholesome behavior and deeds. So that way, we don't do anything to hurt other people and to hurt ourselves. So basically, with spiritual practice and Buddhism, is learning to live a very skillful life and live a very happy life. Because you look at the world now these days, it's just so much, we say, issues and problems. So a monastery is always there, just a sense of safety, a sense of peace and quietness. So it's basically a refuge for the monks and the nuns to stay in a safe place to practice, but also for a refuge for our lay practitioner to come in here, to stay in a safe place, to practice with the monastic. Yep. So I'm very glad to see that monastery is getting developed and moving forward. We have 5 kutis here. All the monks have their own kutis, and the nuns will be moving down to the old monks' quarters, and those places that those rooms have been upgraded. So they're very comfortable and quite warm. So it should be nice and quiet there for the nuns. Yeah, I'm very glad to see how things are developing. Because in the beginning, there was a lot of hard work. I remember I was working morning, afternoon, and also sometimes in the evening. Yep, and it was quite cold those days because we didn't have proper insulation in the rooms and proper heating. So it was a lot of hard work. And I knew a new monastery that was started. The first 7 years, there's a lot of hard work. and very few monastics will want to come over. But now things have changed so much, and it's actually a very quiet place in Newbury Buddhist Monastery, especially up at the monks area with our individual kutis. Every time I go back to my kuti and go into my room, it's just very quiet and very peaceful, and it's just comfortable enough to have a quiet place to rest the mind and to do the Dhamma practice and meditation. Sometimes the rooms, I think, is too luxurious because we have floor heating and our own toilet and shower and double glazed windows. So it's one of the best kuti I ever stay in. Because even the kutis in Bodhinyana Monastery, it's not as comfortable as here. But one reason why we need comfortable kuti is during winter we have snow here. So if we build a kuti too simple here, then we might not have any monks coming here. Because sometimes we have to bear in mind, sometimes the monks that have the most rains and 20 or 40 wasa rains, they're in their 60s or even in their 80s, and they've been practicing for a long time and have the most wisdom, hopefully with the most wisdom. So we have to build really good, comfortable kutis. So in order for our older, more senior monastic to come and stay in comfortable kutis. First for like young monks like myself, I can basically tough it out. So that's one reason why I came here 5 years ago, just to help with the work and just tough it out and get the place built. So in order for the monastic and for our lay practitioner to come here, and especially for the bhikkhunis to come here and have a comfortable place to practice. So the Buddha say, in order to develop meditation, for a monk or a nun, we should look for quiet places in the forest and under a foot of a tree or in a empty kuti. So in a quiet place. So when there's a quiet place, and it's easier to calm the mind. And also, basically, a monastery is an ideal place because we're away from just the busyness and the problem of big cities, and from the cities and from the world, especially the world these days. Because in monastic practice, we are not there to gain more stuff, to have more money, or to be famous, or to be well known. We're basically there to mainly just to calm the mind and develop Samadhi. Because without Samadhi, we cannot, able to stop the outflowing of the mind. Because the mind is basically like a monkey, from jumping from one thoughts to the next thoughts. So one thing I realized when I was a layperson, I found that my thoughts, my feelings was just all over the place. And the more I try and think, the more I try and solve things, the more I got more and more confused. And it actually kept me up all night, just thinking or worrying about things. Then later on, I came across Buddhist meditation, and Ajahn Brahm was saying that if you can calm the mind down and you can see a lot of the problems more clearly and you solve things more easily. So I said, that's interesting. So I practice that, I try. So when I practice and calm the mind down, then I realized a lot of the problems I was holding on to, it was just slowly let go of for a moment. When you let go of things for a moment, you have a sense of peace. And when there's a sense of peace, you have a sense of freedom. Because when you hold on to things that closer, then all you see is the problem. But you learn to mentally let it go, then it's not a problem. It's only when you hold on to things, then you hold on to the burden of life and responsibility and problems. So it's quite important in the monastery. You need a quiet place to practice, a quiet place to be alone by yourself. A monastery is set up to basically to do practice, to keep the precept. Because in the monastery we keep the 8 precepts. For the monastic we keep the 227 rules. for the Bhikkhunis, they keep the 311 rules. So this precept is not a restraint, but is a way to let go of our attachment. When we keep the precept, then that brings harmony to the community. So it brings, for a practitioner, it brings a lot of comfort and ease and harmony to community. So every monastic can practice without worry or fear. The precepts are always there to aid in practice, to let go of our attachment and to develop our Samadhi, our meditation practice. Yeah. Sometimes I like to just close my eye, because sometimes I'm sitting in a empty room with only 2 other persons here operating the recording and the sound equipment. So I find sometimes easier to talk to a crowd and get their feedback. If there's no feedback, I'm basically just talking to myself. One thing that came onto my mind is, if we can't let go of the world, then we can bring it back in our mind, our heart, and it can actually drive us quite, would say, it brings a lot of worry and stress, anxiety, and that can lead to having a body that's quite tense. The reason why I say that is, one of the first retreat I did in Malaysia, with I went to Malaysia to visit my family for the first time after being a monastic for 5 years. And when I went over to Malaysia, to KL, one of my friend, there was a Buddhist monk that was staying in Bodhinyana. He was teaching a retreat down there in KL, and he asked me to just to help me out with the retreat. So I came and supported him with the retreat. And it's quite interesting. We have a lot of retreatants, about, I can't remember the numbers, but it's about between 20 to 40 people that attended the weekend retreat from Friday to Sunday. So when the retreat started, a lot of people we're doing guided meditation, we have walking meditation, and we have just quiet time to sit and meditation, and we have Dhamma teaching, we have question and answer. So when it comes to question and answer, we have a lot of feedback from the retreatant on the retreat, and they say that one thing that came out was, when they sit down and meditate, they have a lot of pain on the leg, on the arms, in the back, and we go, okay, it's not a problem, just relax, and just hopefully when you relax, the tension and the pain will go away from the body. So the second day of the retreat, the feedback was the same. They still have more pain and more tension from the body, and we asked, why is that happening? He said, you can't relax. And the retreatant said, I try and relax, but a lot of anger came out in within my mind, and it actually made my body very stiff and very painful. And I asked the retreatant, so what happened? Why you getting a lot of anger coming out? And the retreatant said, it's because at work, I got in an argument with the people at work, or we have people that's very difficult to work with, or we have a boss from hell. So there's a reason why when they did the retreat, that feeling and that memory just keep on coming up in their mind, and when they close their eye, they get so angry that they cannot meditate. I go, okay, that's interesting. It's really funny. Yeah. To me, it's really funny. Yeah. But I didn't try not to laugh. I said, okay, that's normal. Okay, so you need to practice more loving kindness. And the retreatants say they can't practice loving kindness because every time they can't forgive that person. I said, you have to forgive that person because if you don't forgive that person, you can't let go. You carrying that hurt and anger in your heart, in your mind, and it is affecting your health. Please let it go. Yep. You're here to do a weekend retreat. Let go of the world. Don't carry it in your heart. Yep. Dhamma practice, meditation, is learning to let go. If we let go, we'll be happy and we'll be free. If we don't let go, we hold the worldly problem in our heart. Yep. This is one reason, even myself, I should not laugh because when I was a layperson, I used to get so angry at my friends, at people at work, even my family. Even my family. And then I blame myself for not being good enough. Then I realized these are basic causing conditions. It's the way of the world. We can't do much about it. So we learn to look in. We look inwards. We look into our heart and we look into our mind. We understand the hurt, the anger, the discontent. Then we learn to develop good qualities of compassion, kindness, and especially forgiveness. When we forgive other people, we forgive ourselves. And we forgive ourselves, then we are free. We don't have to be the best of the best. And if we make a mistake, we forgive ourselves. Yep. That's why the Buddhist concept of non-self is very important. When a Buddhist monk is enlightened during the Buddhist time, then he will go and see the Buddha, Lord Buddha, and he will say things like, I'm not better, I'm not worse, I'm not the same. So the Buddha, Lord Buddha realized, okay, so that bhikkhu have become fully enlightened because the sense of self is not there anymore. So same with Buddhist monastic here and our lay supporters coming here to practice and also practicing at home. We learn to let go of the sense of our hurt and I to calm the mind down. We don't carry it in our heart. Then we can be free. If we carry the problem of the world in our heart, in our mind, then we will never be free. We understand it's just cause and condition. It's like the weather in Newbury. One day it will be nice and sunny, then you go outside, oh yeah, that's really nice. It's really nice weather here. Then the next day will be cloudy, full of fog, strong wind, windy, rainy, even snowing. Yep. Then we go outside, okay, it's snowing, so it's no point feeling happy when it's a sunny day and getting negative and depressed when the weather is really bad. We learn to develop equanimity regardless of what's happening with the weather. This is the world. The Buddha say this is the 8 worldly winds. So one thing with what's happening in the world, for a enlightened ordinary person, even monastic, we have the same problem too. If we're not fully enlightened, we still have attachment, we can be blown around the world by the 8 worldly winds. So the 8 worldly winds are basically pressure, pleasure and pain, gain and loss, blame and praise, fame and defame. So these are the 8 worldly winds that blows people around, and it basically makes people happy and very sad, depressed, even to the point of suicide. Yep. So it's quite sad. So if we understand these 8 worldly winds, so when things are bad, we learn to accept it and know things will pass. These too will pass, and we have to be patient and let things pass. And when things are good, it's good to enjoy it, but don't over-enjoy it too much, because we know this will pass too. So that's why meditation is very important. First, for a monastic and a practitioner, our true happiness and peace is keeping our precept, being a virtual person, developing the mind, the meditation, calm, peace, stillness, freedom. And once you calm the mind, we see the up and down of our feelings, our thoughts, our intention, our conditioning, then we realize these are just the condition of the mind. And we learn to develop all those wholesome qualities, and we let go of the negative qualities. The more we develop wholesome qualities, that will uplift our heart and our mind. And if we develop deep meditation, then our mindfulness becomes stronger. It's like charging a battery. I like to keep similes. So when I came back to Newbury Monastery, I went and checked the batteries. I checked all the same. So we have one battery that was dead. So I think what happened with the battery was left uncharged for too long, so the battery died. So same with our mind. If we don't charge up the mind with peace, stillness and samadhi, then we can overburn the mind, and the mind can basically fall into depression, and anger. When we develop stillness, calm and peace, then the mind becomes bright and luminous, and it slowly charges up. So with a bright, luminous mind, then the strength of samadhi will rise. That strength of samadhi is due to a calm, peaceful mind. When we have retreatants that stay here and practice for a few weeks, a few months, one of the things they say is their sense of sight becomes sharper. You can hear more. They can taste the food better, and somehow they can even feel things, more feelings on their hands and their touch. So it's just the energy of the mind is slowly elevate. And it's also good not to hold on to our unwholesome qualities too much, because on the retreat, and also some people that comes here, when we notice, they come in and they hold on to a lot of anger, and it does affect their health. So a lot of people, Buddhism and especially meditation, has become very, very popular because there's a lot of benefit for meditation. So some of the benefit, if they don't develop a mind that's free from worry and stress and anxiety, and if the mind inclines towards too much anger, it does affect the health. If there's too much anger, it weakens our liver, so we have like skin problem or rashes. We have a weak liver, and you have too much grief, it weakens our lung, so we have breathing problem or shortness in breath. And if we have too much worry and stress, actually worry will weaken our stomach, so we have a poor digestion system. Sometimes we find that people that have too much stress, they have pain in the stomach, and a bit of diarrhea. And if it's too much stress, way too much stress, worrying and stressing all the time, then it basically can weaken the heart and the brain. Yep. And if a person develops too much fear all the time, just fear of everything, it can basically weaken our liver. So that's one of the thing I read on the internet. So those unwholesome qualities, it's very important not to get too attached to it. I used to worry and have a lot of anger, and it really affected my health a lot. I used to have quite a lot of anxiety where I can't sleep properly. My hand used to shake and tremble, and I was a bit sickly. So once I started doing a lot of meditation and developing loving kindness, I find that my headache just went away. I can sleep better. And I feel great. Then I got really interested in meditation, and I started coming to the monastery quite often, in Bodhinyana Monastery when I was 23. And I stayed as a layperson, practicing as a layperson for 11 years. I was working up the minds, but in my spare time, I would spend a lot of time just by myself practicing and just reading the suttas. But it brought a lot of happiness to my heart. So I told myself, wow, this is pretty good. I really want to deepen my practice. So I asked my mom. My mom said, no, you cannot practice. You have to basically support the family. I mean, it's fair. My parents raised me up since I was young. And when I was 23, I wanted to ordain as a monastic. So my parents said, no, 10 years. Okay, mom, dad. I'll wait for 10 years. So after I wait for 10 years, but I still go to Bodhinyana Monastery to practice at least once or twice a year for 2 weeks or a month. So after 10 years, 11 years, I asked my parents again if I can ordain as monastic. My parents say, no, another 10 years. I go, oh, what? Another 10 years? Okay, if I wait another 10 years, will the answer be yes? And my parents made the mistake. They say, well, after 10 years, the answer is no again. I go, oh, that's not fair. So when can I ordain? And my parents say, not wait until they're not around when they pass away. I go, that's not very fair, because I might pass away before they do. So I decided not to be obedient to my parents, become a bit of a rebel, and just went out the monastery to become a trainee. Yep. I remember the day I left, my mom was a bit sad, and my little sister was just crying and bawling her eye out. I thought, okay, no worries. Maybe I'll give it a try. Try for 3 years and see what happens. And if things don't work out, I come back. Yep. But going to the monastery was quite difficult. There was a lot of work. So it wasn't an easy time. But when I arrived there, when I first arrived there to become my trainee as an Anagarika, there was 7 trainees. I think 3 left and two ordained, and the other 2 I'm not sure where they went. And I was basically by myself in the kitchen for something like 6 months. That was a lot of work, especially in the big community of monastic. There was about 18 to 16 monastic there. So it's still quite a large community at Bodhinyana. So I have to do a lot of cooking, a lot of driving, and a lot of extra work. So I don't mind doing that because I developed a positive attitude of giving and sharing and making good merit in the monastery. So I told myself I will serve the community for 1.5 years before becoming a novice, because as a trainee you meant to serve the community for 1 year before ordaining as a novice, because there were so few people in the kitchen and not a lot of help. So I decided to stay as a trainee longer, as an Anagarika trainee for 1.5 years until there's more and more trainees that came over, and I wasn't required to to stay back in the kitchen and do driving and cooking and stuff. Then after that, I decided, okay, it's time for me to ordain as a novice. So I ordained as a novice, and yeah, that was pretty good. I mean, it was pretty tough, yeah, but it's something that all practitioners gotta learn to be by yourself in the forest. Learn to not be away from your friends, especially your family. Yep. So a lot of giving up, a lot of letting go. Yeah. Okay, so how time we doing? Okay, we got at 10:18, about 10:18. So we still got a while. Yeah, going back to the first retreat that I conducted in Malaysia. It was hard for those retreatants to understand. So the more we talk to them, the more guidance we give to them. When they managed to forgive what was happening at work or in the family, to develop a lot of peace. Later on, they say that tension basically just become less and less and less. And when they sit and meditate, the tension from the body slowly become looser, especially up where our shoulders, and also especially in our back. So it's very important to not hold on to too many negative thoughts and feelings, because it does affect our body and our health. The more we can let go, the more we can be kind, be gentle, make peace. That's what Ajahn Brahm's favorite saying. Be kind, be gentle, make peace in our heart. Then the more we can move away from negative thoughts and feelings. Every moment, when we wake up, when we work, when we talk to one another, when we go back, when we rest, when we meditate, when we sleep. If we develop kindness, compassion, gentleness, it becomes a part of one's character. Once we develop those wholesome qualities, or the Buddha nature in our heart, and we close our eye, when we sleep, we have nice dreams. We dream of flying. We dream of being up in the mountain. We dream of even meditating in the forest. And when Samadhi is developed deeply in one's heart and one practice, then it becomes a part of one's dreams too. Because Ajahn Brahm was once talking about the dreams that he gets in Bodhinyana during the Vasa is quite interesting. Yep. So Ajahn Brahm say he will dream of nimittas and jhanas in his dream. Yep. So it's quite interesting. Yep. So Ajahn is not trying to give a hint. So he used dreams. When you dream, it's just basically a reflection of the mind. There was a monk in Bodhinyana. He was working very hard. He went back to Bodhinyana and he stayed for the Vasa. And one of the dreams that came out when he was staying in the monastery for the Vasa was quite interesting. He dreamt that he was up in the mountain. He walked up in the mountain and he found this monastery in the mountain. And he walked into the monastery, into the Dhamma hall. And he saw this Buddha statue with bright ray of light coming out from the Buddha statue. Then he's going, wow, it's so bright and blissful and so still. Then he noticed he was wearing one of those amulet with a Buddhist image in the neck, and he noticed the bright light ray coming out from the image, and he took out the image and looked into the image, the Buddha image, where this bright white ray was coming out, and the more he looked, he went into the brightness of the light. Then he woke up in that meditating that would say that blissful dream. And he felt a sense of peace, happiness, and stillness arising from the dream. That was a really nice dream. So if we do develop our practice daily, we have a quiet place to practice, to meditate. We develop it in our heart, in our mind, those wholesome qualities, then it will become a part of our nature. Then it will come out in our dreams too. And if we develop negative thoughts and feelings, and fear, and worry and stress, and that will come out in our dreams too. So our meditation is basically a reflection of our mind. So that's one reason why the monastery is here, is to basically practice, purify our mind, and develop those wholesome qualities. It's great this year. It will be a nice Vasa. Probably might be one of the best Vasa for the monastic here, because we have our own place, our own kuti. And due to the restriction, the monastery is very quiet. We don't get massive crowds coming in. But I remember a few years ago, we used to get up to 200 people coming here for lunch in the weekend. Jeez, and that was pretty noisy. But now we just have people drop off and go. So the monastery is very quiet. Okay, I think we have some requests for some questions. So we open up.
Thank you, Bande Cunda, for the wonderful talk. We have one question so far. Please tell me how you learn to meditate over time when you are a lay person or a beginner. I need a lot of preparation to start meditation, and I need an hour to be peaceful.
Okay, as a layperson, if we live a very busy lifestyle, and if we are staying we're working with people that are not keeping the 5 precepts, are very competitive and can be very aggressive, then it does take a while for the mind to calm down, because we are still those busyness is still lingering in the mind. So the best time to meditate, is and whenever you find that you're quite relaxed. Even if you're not relaxed, you just have to find a quiet place to practice. Maybe in a quiet room, away from noise or distraction if possible. Make sure your phone is set on silent or turned off. And if you sit down, and meditation is about letting go. It's not about trying to get somewhere or make the mind peaceful. It's not willpower. It's basically learning to let things go and to relax the mind and body. Is the more we let go, the more relaxed we become. So if you sit down meditation on the cushion or on a chair, and you find that your body is still very tense and your mind is still very active, then it's good to do some walking meditation. I find walking meditation is good to prepare the mind to sitting meditation. So walking meditation, if you haven't done it before, is you go out into the garden or in the hallway and you just walk back and forward. Yep, back and forward, and you bring your awareness down to your sole of your feet, and what you're aware of is your feet lifting, moving forward, and putting down. So you're aware of the sensation of the movement of your leg and the touching of the floor. So because that is more active, you bring your awareness down to just the sensation of touching and walking forward, because the excess energy from the mind and body, it has to go somewhere. So it goes to the movement. So the more you walk back and forward, after a while you find that your thoughts and the energy, the thoughts will slowly calm down and quiet. Then the energy of the body will slowly just become lessen. Because walking meditation is very good because it's very active. It tends to allow a lot of the excess energy to basically just settle down and fade away. Because we have people that do walking meditation a lot. They say after doing walking meditation back and forth, after a while, they feel like they're floating, quite relaxed and floating. Yep. And when that happens, and when the mind is calm and peaceful enough, and the body is quite relaxed, then you do sitting meditation. When you do sitting meditation, if your mind can be calm and peaceful, then it's good to stay with the breath with the object of the breathing. But if your mind is still very active and your body is still very stiff, then you do body scanning. You just scan from the top of your head all the way down to your feet, and just relax any part of your body, and just relax and just scan it. Do body scanning, because in order for the mind to go deeper and to go stiller, the body has to relax as much as possible. As the body become relaxed, then the mind become relaxed. As the mind become more relaxed, then the body become more relaxed. Okay, I hope that was useful. Yes.
Our second question. Please advise how one knows whether they are making progress with the practice. What milestones should we look for?
Okay, everyone's practice is different. So we try not to measure or look for any improvement too much, because sometimes when we look, it becomes another achievement. It becomes another, we say another duty. What we look for is basically how we feel. Are we more calm? Are we more peaceful? Is the negative qualities increasing or decreasing? Is our wholesome quality increasing or decreasing? So that's what we look for. We look for our mind. Are we more happier? Are we more peaceful? Are we more calm? Or are we more angry, more frustrated, and more worried? So that's thing. We don't look for it, we feel it. When we feel it, we know. So as those wholesome qualities are increasing, and we can sit with a calm mind, then we know things are improving. Because when I was the layperson, when I first started meditation, I got very good result, and I wanted more. So it became another achievement. So instead of enjoying meditation or letting go, it became wanting. So for the first 5 years, I would sit down and go, okay, I'll sit, watch the breath, keep straight. Okay, sit for 1 hour. Then I'll do that for 1 hour. And if I'm not getting result, okay, another 2 hours, after even 4 hours. And after that, I got a headache, and it felt like I did not enjoy meditation anymore. It was another achievement for me to do. And plus, I was hanging out in the monastery as a layperson and reading books and listening to other monks saying, you must get this stage, you must develop nimittas, you must get absorption, you must get into jhanas, and after that you have to try and become enlightened, and it's just become another achievement and another burden to the point I say, look, I'm not interested in all these things anymore. The main reason why I became a Buddhist, practice meditation, is I want to be happy and free. That was true in my heart. Why I want to be happy? Why I want to do meditation? Because I want to feel good. Not feel good in the way of in the worldly way, but feel happy inside. Feel free from worry and problems. Having a mind that's calm, relaxed, and wise, with developing wisdom, seeing the problem and harm in the world and just turning away. Yep. So when you learn to be by yourself, learn to have a quiet mind, learn to let things go, then you feel relaxed, then you feel your mind free from worry, then you feel happy. The sense of calm, stillness and peace is contentment, one of the highest happiness of the mind. So I just gave up in meditation, gave up in all this achievement. Then I just sit down and relax. Then I noticed my mind was calm and peaceful. Then the meditation slowly become deep. I understand what letting go was. Now this is happiness. Then meditation becomes not that hard, not difficult. So I learned to let go. Yeah. So in meditation, don't have a goal. The goal is learning to be free, and to let go, and just to relax. Just set simple goals. Don't set high goals. You set high goals, you'll be very disappointed. Just set simple goals. You must remember the concept of non-self. If there's an I, then there's my problem, my responsibility, my burden. If there's no I and there's no me, then you're free. Thank you. Yes.
We have 2 more questions.
Oh, okay.
Yes, one is more about meditation while the other is not. So I will ask the one related to meditation first. Thank you, Bande. Sometime when I'm so relaxed, I fall asleep when meditating. Do you have any suggestions on how to deal with that? Thank you.
Okay. If we are tired from work and if we sit down meditate, it's naturally we'll fall asleep. It's quite normal because the energy of the mind is not there yet. Once the energy of the mind or the stillness is there, then the opposite will happen. You can sit meditation and you get into good meditation. Sometimes you get so much energy and stillness from the mind. You can't sleep for the whole night. The mind is bright and alert. So you find that if you're sleeping, then you could be quite tired. So if you're tired, sometimes it's good to just rest, sleep first. Then when you're well rested and refreshed, then go on with the meditation. And also walking meditation is good. You find that you're falling asleep quite often, do some walking meditation first. So when you do walking meditation, when you're calm, you're more relaxed, the energy of the mindfulness is there, then come back to sitting, body scanning, and being aware of the breath going in and out. Even myself, if I'm been working quite hard out there, if I go back to my room, if I sit and meditate, I'll fall asleep. Simple as that. So what I do is, sometimes I have a nap in the afternoon for maybe 1 or 2 hours. Then at night, I find that while I'm relaxed, then I can sleep back. My mind can go into meditation automatically. It becomes more easier. So you have to be quite sensitive to your mind and your body. and see if you're tired, naturally you'll fall asleep. It's just the conditioning of the body and our mind. If we're tired, we've been thinking too much. If we think too much, our mind will be will have a slight headache. Then we can't meditate. Yep. If I think too much, I plan too much, or if I get into argument with my friends here, then I find that it's a little bit harder to calm the mind down. So sometimes those conditioning has to be there. That's why the precept is very important. When we keep the precept and we develop wholesome qualities, it helps the mind to become to allow those conditions to arise. I mean, if you are a skillful meditator and you develop good enough deep meditation, and the meditation becomes a very a pleasant abiding and a very safe, comfortable place to go and for the mind to rest, then the mind will naturally go into samadhi automatically. But in order to do that, you need many years of practice. Some lay people that I met have been practicing for many years, where they can develop deep samadhi. What I mean by deep samadhi is the five senses shut down, and what you have is the mind. When you have the mind, when the calm and the stillness is there, then the mind will become luminous and bright. When the mind becomes luminous and bright, it basically goes into the, we'll say, the samadhi factors arise of one-pointedness, of piti. Piti is the happiness, and sukha is the calm. When those arise, the mind will just go into it. And it goes into it. It's a very peaceful, nice abiding to be in. So if you can develop those states, then the mind will go into that state automatically, because it basically refreshes and recharge the mind. It's like the battery that is dull, that's completely flat. You put the battery in the charger and you just charge it up. That's why you notice with people that have good meditation, they're very, say they're quite alive. It's like the mindfulness is there, and they're quite awake. Yep, and their mind is very sharp. So sometimes for me, when I look at people, if I see like they're all over the place, and just when I look at their eye, you can tell if they're practicing well. It's just how they behave in the monastery, and how much not restless energy, but the energy of just awareness and calmness. When you meet those people, you go, okay, they're doing well in their practice. People that complain a lot, okay, their practice is maybe not doing so well. So that's mainly in retreats. In the monastery, sometimes, but we still get in the monastery developed. So it will take a while, but we're getting there. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Just one quick question before we go into the last question. For tomorrow's Monday night guided meditation, is it guided by you?
Yes, I'm really sorry. So you have to put up with me tomorrow again. I try and keep it simple. It'll be me keeping the guided meditation, and so it's good. I enjoy giving guided meditation because one of my hobby, becoming a monastic, was to practice, have more time to practice. Because I love doing meditation as a lay person, so I thought when I ordained, I have more time to practice. I'm not really a scholar monk. I don't spend hours and hours reading books. I like working, and I like spending time by myself and practicing meditation. So my meditation practice guidance is pretty basic, but it works. I mean, when I was in Malaysia, I met some people that was basically dying, and they only got like few weeks or a month to live. And I was going, oh man, I'm just only a novice. I don't know how I can help them, but I still remember what works for me. So I gave some guidance to them, and it was quite interesting. One of the feedback was one lady said that she felt very peaceful because what I told her, it works. And she learned to let go instead of worrying too much. And when I left the retreat, the feedback from the retreat organizer was saying that she was quite a angry and fault-finding person. But after the retreat, she was very relaxed. And into the day, she passed away. Yep. So, okay, that's interesting. And another lady on the retreat, she had the best meditation because on the retreat, everyone was complaining about pain and anger with people at work or the family. And this lady was basically got cancer twice, and the cancer was reoccurring. And she asked me, what should she do? Should she operate or she don't operate to remove the cancer? And I told her, you just have to make peace with your mind and be very gentle with your body. And I gave some guided meditation. And on that end of the retreat, the feedback from her was quite interesting. But she said that she can manage to drop the body and allow the body to disappear. When the body disappeared, the mind was so calm. She noticed this radiant light just arise from the mind, and her mind just went into the light, and it felt so peaceful and so free. And when she came out from meditation, came out from the brightness of the mind, she felt the body and she felt all the pain arise from the body. So now she knows how to access deep meditation. And basically that was her first time doing the meditation, and she was the only person with the best meditation. It's quite interesting. But even in the retreat center in Perth, we have some people that come in and the doctors say, look, there's nothing much you can do. Go back and get ready to die. And sometimes they in the hospital, next to the hospital in Armadale, we have a retreat class there, and a lot of the doctors will recommend the patient to come to the meditation class. And some of them actually got a lot of illness, and they have also terminal cancer or sickness. So we give meditation guidance to them, and sometimes we have very good result. Very few, very rare, but we have cases where people's cancer basically stop spreading. And there's one person that have cancer all over his body, and he's still alive after 10 years. I think he's still, I haven't seen him for a long time, but I think he's still going. But the power of the mind is very powerful. If we can learn to let things go and let this body go, then it gives the body a chance to heal itself. Thank you.
Thank you. So remember to tune in tomorrow, 7:30 Melbourne time. And we have the very last question of the day. Thank you, Bande. Please tell me your favorite story of rebirth.
Rebirth. Okay, so this is one of my favorite story. I came across this on the internet. So it's quite an interesting story. There was a lady. She was in a minivan driving with her 3 kids. Two girls and 1 little boy. I can't remember the exact age. One is 12, I think one is 9, and one is 4. It was in the back of a minivan on the highway or freeway, and the truck lost control and slammed behind them, and 3 child got hurt really badly, and I think 1 child didn't live long, went to the hospital and died shortly, and the other 2 child, the second one only managed to hold on for another day, then she passed away. Then the smallest child, I think was the son, he became brain dead, and a few weeks later the doctor said there's nothing they can do, so the parents are quite sad, and he was the only surviving child, so the parents have to basically just gave the okay to turn off the machine, and the child passed away. All 3 child just passed away. It was quite sad. The parents was very sad to lost all 3 child in a car accident. But after a year, the couple decide to start over again. It was quite painful. They're not sure they can go through the whole thing over again. But they say, okay, they'll try to start all over again. So the mom got pregnant, and it was triplet. So after when they gave birth, it was quite interesting. It was basically 2 girls and 1 boy. And when I look at the pictures, they look quite similar. So it seems like all 3 child came back on the next birth. The good thing about kids is children do have a very pure mind, because the mind is not tainted by defilements or attachment. And when the child passes away, their attachment to the family, to the mom and dad, is very strong. And naturally, they will take rebirth in the same family again. We have a supporter in Bodhinyana that the son passed away with a lung problem at the age of 12. And after that, the family gave birth to another child. But the child was quite young, so they took him to the hospital to have a checkup case, and he got the same lung problem again. But they managed to treat the illness early on, so that child is quite healthy now. So yeah, staying in the monastery, when you meet supporters, sometimes you do hear sad stories, but later on you found that the kids do come back. So it's quite naturally, kids usually come back to the same family. So these are the 2 rebirth stories that I like to share with people. Okay. And it's quite interesting. Sometimes when you have kids here, kids come here to stay, and they come here for lunch and for Buddhist monks. It's very hard to talk to kids. So one of my favorite stories that I like to tell kids to do with the world, so it's of Dhamma, a bit of Dhamma for the kids to understand, kids Dhamma. Is I always tell a story of the scorpion and the tortoise. So one time there was a scorpion walking up and down on the river side, back and forward, and the tortoise was walking by, and he saw this scorpion walking back and forward, so worried, and the tortoise asked the scorpion, "What are you doing? Are you walking around looking for something? May I help you?" And the scorpion is saying that, I need to go to the other shore, because I need to cross over, and the tortoise asked, if I can take you over, but promise that you will not sting me, because you are a scorpion, you're very dangerous, you can kill me with one sting. Then the scorpion said, no, it's okay, I'm your friend, you take me over, I promise, I cross my heart, I will not sting you, I promise. And the tortoise said, no problem, if that's what you promise, I believe you, please jump on my back. And the scorpion jumped on the back of the tortoise, and it swam across the river. Halfway through the river, the tortoise felt a very sharp, painful sting in his back of his neck. It's going, what's that? And he looked, and he shouted in pain to the scorpion. He said, why did you sting me? Didn't you promise you're not going to sting me? And the scorpion said, yes, I did promise not to sting you, but it's in my nature. I can't help myself. When I'm close to something, I just feel like I have to sting it. So the tortoise got poisoned, and he drowned, and same with the scorpion, they drowned together in the river. So that's one of the stories I like to tell kids, because you see kids, they like to play games, and they're not in the Dhamma practice. So I tell these stories to the kids to just remind them to when they're out in the world, just to be careful of people, because not everyone is giving the 5 precepts. And because of the conditioning of people's mind, due to greed, hatred, and delusion, or ego, or self, people are out of control. They can't see the hurt in their heart and in the mind, and sometimes they just is fueled by the craving and desire. Sometimes they just do things. That's why there's so much problem in the world. But as for Buddhists, we develop those qualities. We look deep into our heart, into our mind, and develop those wholesome qualities. Okay, so hopefully that's a nice little story. So sorry if I wasn't clear, because I'm not really a Dhamma speaker. I normally just like to stay in the monastery and help to get work done and get place built. So please forgive me if I say anything wrong by body, speech, or mind. Thank you. Okay, let's see. I think that's it. I don't think there's any more questions. Is there any more questions? Okay, so now we pay respect to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha.